The story begins with our exhausted protagonist climbing a mountain being teased by the kids for being weak. Well, he was tricked by his editor into coming on this trip while the guy stayed comfortably at home, while he thought of a way to get revenge on the bar. The iron he was leaning on broke, and he ended up falling off the cliff. After waking up he felt a great pain in his body. He realized that his hands were tied and in front of him was a beautiful girl with saliva dripping from his mouth. At the same time she said in a strange language that it had very tender meat, and that it would be greasy when it was cooked. Upon hearing her the protagonist despaired, but when he thought that this would be his end, the feline girl cut the rope that tied his arms and he mentioned that even if he is hungry, she will not eat anyone. When he saw his appearance better, the protagonist noticed that she had ears, and also a fin animal tail. Suddenly realizing that he had been transported to another world and being a novelist, it was not difficult for him to accept this fact. Then looking around he was surprised that this place seemed to be somewhat backwards in time. Looking outside the hut he saw several animal-like humanoid beings and seeing this confirmed that he was transported to a world where society was still primitive. The next moment the girl's father, who is also the head of this town, appeared and asked him what his purpose was in coming here, but the protagonist could not understand his language, so he has no idea what they are talking about in front of him because of his thin and delicate appearance plus the fact that the sorcerer wanted to meet this boy. The village chief thought that the protagonist came from a big village, and when they were going where the sorcerer, the people of the town were surprised since he did not have horns or wings. He realized that they only looked at him with curiosity and had no desire for eating his meat, so they must not be a tribe of cannibals. In addition to the fact that they let him rest and they must not have the intention of harming him, in another scene the strongest warriors of the town are shown to say that they need a new sorcerer, but everyone in the tribe they were tested, and none of them had magical talents. The only thing missing to do the test was the strange subject they found 3 days ago, so with no other options they asked to bring the stranger. When the protagonist entered the store he noticed that the old man is the leader of this tribe, and seeing him weak he planned to take him hostage if things went wrong, but looking into the old man's eyes he felt his soul leaving his body, and in this strange dimension a fire dragon appeared. Along with the dragon the old man also appeared and explained that this place was within his. Then the old man transmitted the language of his tribe directly to his soul. After opening his eyes he mentions that he will be part of this town. As the new sorcerer the news spread quickly. When the other townspeople found out they were happy, since the tribe will survive and they will not be treated as outcasts, so the girl named Jinjayue said that from now on she will take care of him. What she explained to him is that his tribe is called Hainan and the strongest member of the tribe is the sorcerer, but if there is not one then the tribe will be destroyed. The second in command is his father, the chief of the village, followed by the hunter captain. And lastly there are the soldiers who protect the village. Previously they all lived in an ancient fertile land. They did not have to worry about water or food. There were 300 people and with 65 soldiers in the hunting group, but half a year ago they were targeted by the tribe of the Black Snake. Many of them died, and their lands were taken from them, forcing them to emigrate to these desert lands. That is why it aims to become much stronger to save his companions who were captured and recover his ancestral land. While the protagonist was walking through the town he saw that most of the people are thin and pale from malnutrition. His environment is very poor, in addition to poor hygiene that causes him to be easier to get contaminated with bacteria. If a pandemic broke out, a big disaster would happen. Desperate for not knowing how to fix it, he heard a robotic voice in his head telling him that the daily help system was activated. If you register daily he will receive a random aid package for beginners, and the rest of the packages will be unlocked in a year after activating the system, but if they don't solve the problem from now in a year they will all end up dying. Interrupting his thoughts, the girl took him to the hut where it would be his new home for him to rest there. He quickly settled in bed to take a nap, but while lying down he perceived a smell of milk coming out of the bed. Suddenly the girl jumped on the protagonist and told him to stop sniffing his bed. Then he realized that the two would live together. He ignored the fact that she had animal horns and ears since she has a beautiful face and a perfect body, so he agrees to live with her. The embarrassed girl told him that she will not stay long because tonight she will goon patrol. After her departure the protagonist registered his first day in the system and got an intermediate care package from which he obtained the level 1 healing ability, and the more he uses it, the level will increase. Then when reviewing his current state, He realized that it was not enough to survive in this tribe. In another place the old man is shown saying that it does not matter that the origin of the protagonist is unknown, he will become the new sorcerer. The reason for the urgency is because his body will only hold out for a few more days, and seeing the poor condition of the old man, the village chief was frustrated by his weakness. Well, the sorcerer was injured protecting the tribe from the attack of the black snakes. The old man told him not to worry. Instead, he should prepare the succession ceremony in 3 days and he doesn't have to worry about it. That it is a spy since he reviewed his soul and found no evil in him, but that it was as clean as a river, and could belong to some legendary tribe. Just as the chief was going to make the preparations, the old man stopped him and mentioned that the descendants of a sorcerer usually have an extraordinary talent. Therefore, it would be better if the tribe had many generations of sorcerers. Being more specific, the old man wanted the protagonist to have more descendants. Later, when the village chief left the hut, he saw his daughter trying to eavesdrop on their conversation, but he didn't care and told her that she had to marry the young sorcerer and have several children. When hearing this shocking news, her brain short-circuited for a few seconds. Upon returning to normal, she says that she will only marry someone who can beat her, but her father told her that there is no one in town who can beat her. Besides, she is already 19 years old, and she is at the age to have children. The girl says that instead of having children she prefers to become stronger so that she can take revenge. The next morning our protagonist is trembling with so much cold, and when he looked at her new home he saw that it had many holes. While he was trying to cover it up the holes, the girl appeared, and when she looked at him, she began to imagine her life having her children. Ashamed, she patted him several times on the back that almost killed the main character. The only thing he wanted was more straw to cover the holes. When he realized this, the girl stopped, offered to help him as he went. Behind her he saw 2 girls sleeping, shivering from the cold without any blankets. The girl explained that most people don't. He has a house and the skin of the animals is very valuable, so they have to hunt themselves if they want to have a blanket. Then the protagonist brought his straw to cover the 2 girls, and seeing this the girl said that being the sorcerer, he was much more important than them. He stated that all people are equally important, and by saying this he made her more interested in him. Then at sunset the home team returned from their mission. With this news all the people came out to receive them and they were happy. Not having to starve for a while watching all this, the girl explained that most of the meat is distributed to the warriors, a small part goes to the reserve soldiers and children, but the women and old people only eat once in a while or when they pick wild fruits. With this information the protagonist had an idea and asked if they ever tried to farm or raise animals in order to have a source of food. Clearly, being a person from a primitive era, she didn't understand the reason of taking care of animals when they don't have what they need to eat. When he thought of an easy way to explain it to her, the home team leader congratulated her on finally finding a husband, but she was embarrassed. She denied it. She said that the protagonist was the sorcerer's heir. The members of the hunt team, upon hearing this, they offered him what they hunt, and before having the wrong idea the girl told him that they only do it because he is the future sorcerer. Even a boy gave him his food, but the protagonist only accepted what the hunter gave him. At dusk the girl asks him why he did not accept the meat, because it is an honor for the boy to offer the meat to the sorcerer. But he replied that he would not feel well receiving food from a little boy. When he said this, he noticed that she was looking at his meat and his stomach did not stop rumbling. When he asked her if she wanted some, she refused, saying that she could not eat the sorcerer's heir's food. Of course she didn't last long and said she would only take a small bite, but she ended up eating more than half of the meat. The main character ate the rest, but he said it would taste better with a little salt. Realizing this, the girl offered him the salt she was saving. As she lost her territory it became more difficult to get it, but she managed to save some salt from her old territory. Hearing this, he realized that salt was something valuable in this primitive society, so there was no way he could accept it, so he returned the room to the girl. When he was thinking of a way to get the town out of poverty, she tells him that every 15 days the surf leopard tribe opens a market and the nearby tribes come to them to buy various things. But there are still 10 days left until the next opening of the market. Upon hearing this, the protagonist decided to go take a look to learn more about this world. Shortly after, the village chief told him that the sorcerer was looking for him. Seeing him enter the hut, he entrusted him with the last moments of the great sorcerer, and he was not the only one since the other warriors also noticed that the day had finally arrived. They felt afflicted by the departure of the person who took care of them since they were little, since they considered him as their own father, and at the same time they prepared to welcome the new sorcerer of their tribe. Inside the hut the old man explains everything he needs to know for the ceremony of tomorrow. He tells him that the sorcerer is the one who protects the future of the tribe and guides them in the best direction in this world. The power of totems is the foundation of a tribe, and they are also different from other tribes. Only the sorcerer can control their power and activate the mark in the blood of the warriors. In addition to the sorcerer, the warriors with the marks are the strongest people of each race and have great potential because a lot of them have a lot of chi in their blood. However, no matter how talented the warrior is, they will not be able to evolve naturally if there is not a sorcerer who can guide that power. That is why the presence of a sorcerer is very important. In fact, everyone has the chi power in their blood, and with the help of the sorcerer even the weakest person can become a warrior. Also, if a person accumulates enough strength in their blood, they can be promoted through a ritual. Reserve soldiers can deal with most beasts, but outside the tribe there are many more powerful beasts and only the strongest warriors can face them. Although there are few, there are the pillars of the tribe, and for a tribe to be strong it depends entirely on the number of warriors that have the skills of the sorcerer are not limited to just training warriors. They also create something called the domain of the sorcerer, of which he delivered a scroll to the protagonist wherewith he has all his knowledge. When he opened it he saw unknown words, but out of nowhere the letters began to shine, making him dizzy. The sorcerer told him that he will not be able to read it for now, but when the succession ceremony is over he will understand its content. Each domain is engraved with a spell, and only with his magic power will he be able to activate it. Of course there are several types of magic such as poisoning, healing and blessing spells that can increase strength and speed. The old man specializes in healing magic and some other blessings, and he must remember that as sorcerer he can never reveal his skills to the public because although he is highly admired, it also makes him an easy target. Then the old man told him to keep the scroll a secret since it is the heritage of the tribe, and when he finished saying that the old man suddenly began to spit blood out of his mouth. The protagonist tried to use his magic to cure him. The sorcerer told him not to wasting his energy on him since his body was very exhausted. His only regret was not being able to see the things his successor will create in the future. But before leaving this world he will use his last strength to finish the succession ceremony. After waiting 63 years, the time has come to appoint a new sorcerer who guides the tribe. At the beginning of the ceremony, the strongest warriors offered their blood according to the old man's request, which flew towards the sorcerer where a sphere of blood was formed, and with that the totem was completed to later become a golden dragon that later entered the body of the protagonist. And to finish the ceremony the old man passed him the true inheritance of the sorcerers. The sphere contains the history of all the sorcerers. If you like the video please press the like button and also subscribe and comment if you want a part 2.